Are you taking advantage of all the retirement accounts available to you? If I were to guess, the answer is no. Stick around so you can reboot your overall retirement. Welcome to the show, everyone. Joe Anderson here, certified financial planner, president up here at Financial Advisors. And of course, I'm with the big man, Big Al Clopine. He's sitting right there. Hi, Big Al.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. We're going to recharge people's overall retirement today, because one of the most important vehicles that you can use to enhance your retirement is the good old IRA. We're going to talk about it, we're going to dive in, and we're going to see who qualifies and doesn't qualify and how to reboot it. That's today's Financial Focus. These statistics are crazy to me. Roth IRAs, Big Al, only 21% of the population has a Roth IRA.
It's not enough.
That's probably one of the best vehicles that the IRS has ever given us. Only 21% have it. How about a traditional IRA? 30%, that's a little bit better, but there's our huge gaps in regards to our overall retirement planning. Now, if I can just increase the amount of money that I'm saving to my retirement by 1% per year, $50,000 salary, you save 4%. That's the green. That's $200,000 in 30 years. Well, let's just boost it up to 5%. That's $250,000. That's $50,000 more. What about 6%? It's almost $100,000. Folks, we can do this. It's just learning the basics on retirement. Let's bring in the big man to help us out.
All right, today we're going to talk about rebooting your IRA. So let's start with the basics. Let's start with the IRA 101. Kind of review for some of you, maybe new information for some of you, and then we're going to get into assessing your asset allocation, location, and then finally that invest for success. Make sure that you're putting enough in the IRA, make sure you're investing properly to achieve your goals in retirement. And Joe, this is a key topic. I mean, a lot of people have 401ks, 403bs, not everybody, but you can also enhance it with IRAs. A lot of people don't realize you can have a 401k and an IRA.
Right, or a lot of people don't have a 401k, but they're still not taking advantage of an IRA. Let's just kind of break it down. There's a lot of different accounts, Big Al. No wonder why, right? They just try to make this as confusing as ever. So when we look at IRAs or defined contribution plans, the 401k, everyone's heard of that before. That's through your employer, right? It comes from your paycheck. You pop money in, gross tax deferred. Boom, when you retire, you have a little bit of a nest egg, right? That's great. But then there's the 403b. What the heck is that? Well, that could be someone that works for a nonprofit, maybe a school district, maybe you're a nurse or doctor. But here's the grand pool of the IRA, the individual retirement account. So even though you might have a 401k or a 403b, you still qualify for the IRA.
Yeah, well, that's right. And then it's not only the IRA, you could do a Roth IRA, right? And so you can kind of mix and match. There's limitations, but you can split it up. You can do one, you can do the other. There's a self-directed IRA. Have you heard of that? So that's where you direct your assets into things that aren't necessarily stocks and bonds, maybe real estate. And then finally, a simple IRA for businesses. It tends to be a little simpler than a 401k plan.
But there's nothing simple around it.
It's not very simple, but it is simpler than a 401k.
All right, why don't you break us down, Al? What can I save into these different plans?
All right, so let's start with the 401k, 403b, and the like. So that's $20,500. This is for 2022. Now, if you're 50 and older, you can do a catch-up, and the catch-up is $6,500, so you could do $27,000. Defined contribution plan is including 401ks and all these plans I mentioned here. You can get in as much as $61,000, which would include your employer match or your employer profit share, or maybe some 401k plans allow you to put after-tax money in, but you can't do more than that $61,000. Simple IRAs, $14,000, and simple catch-up, 50 and older Joe, is $3,000.
You know, this is for 2022, and there's a lot of legislation that is coming out, a lot of different proposals of kind of shaking this up a little bit by helping people save a little bit more money, including the matches, or not the match, but the catch-ups, and Rothifying, you know, some of these overall retirement plans, which would be fantastic. But stick around, because a lot of you are still not maxing these plans out. absolutely want to make sure that you know how much that you can put in, and then just try to get to these maximum levels as much as you can. But then who qualifies?
Let's switch over to IRAs and Roth IRAs, Joe. So first of all, you have to have earned income, which means salary or could be profit from a self-employed business, so that would qualify for earned income. Or your spouse has to have earned income. You can use your spouse's earned income if you're not working or retired or whatever it may be, so that works. There are no age limitations on IRAs and Roth IRAs as long as you or your spouse have earned income. That changed because it used to be you could do Roth IRAs after RMD, required minimum distribution age. Now they've made it available, Joe, for everybody.
Yeah, that was kind of a weird, stupid rule, is that once you reach 70 and a half, you can no longer contribute to an IRA, but you could put money into a Roth IRA. But then they realized, hey, wait a minute, there's a lot of people that are still working in their 70s, so they got rid of that rule just recently with the Secure Act. So no matter what your age, as long as you have this earned income requirement, you can make a contribution to an IRA, right? If you have a 401k, if you have a 403b, it doesn't matter. If you have earned income, you could put money into an IRA. The only debate is it going to be deductible or not? Okay, that's the question, because then it's like, all right, do I want to get a tax savings here, or do I want to do an after-tax contribution? It doesn't necessarily matter. As long as you have earned income, you can put money in, but I think the questions that people will have is, well, do I want to do the after-tax or pre-tax?
Yeah, exactly, and those limits are pretty low. I think it's around 68,000 single. I think it's 109,000 where it starts phasing out. But then the other question is, should you do a traditional IRA or a Roth IRA? We're big believers in having money in tax-free in retirement. So who can do a Roth IRA? It's the same rules as regular IRA, but there's other income limitations. So if you're single and your adjusted gross income is below 129,000, perfect. You can do a full one, then it phases out. By the time you get to 144,000, no more Roth IRA. When you're married, those numbers are 204,000 to 214,000. But Joe, there's backdoor Roth, there's workarounds, but this, if you want to do a direct contribution to a Roth IRA, these are the income limitations you need to be aware of.
Yeah, and I think a lot of individuals that are higher than this that still want to get money into the Roth, like I said, you could still put money into an IRA. It's a non-deductible IRA because you do not get the tax deduction, and then potentially you could convert that into a Roth IRA. So it's a double step. It's called the backdoor Roth, but there's aggregation, pro rata rules. It gets a little bit of complication there, but we have your back. We got the ultimate IRA guide. So if you want to talk about back door, front door, garage door, whatever type of IRA contributions, and how to look at investing these just to reboot your overall retirement, go to our website, yourmoneyyourwealth.com. Click on that special offer, and that's our gift for you this week. You're watching Your Money, Your Wealth. We'll be back in just a second. Welcome back to the show, folks. Show's called Your Money, Your Wealth. Joe Anderson, Big Al. We're talking IRAs, Roth IRAs, simple steps. You name it, we got it. Go to our website, yourmoneyyourwealth.com. Click on our special offer. It's the ultimate guide to IRAs. So if you have questions on who can contribute, what you can invest in, what you qualify for or don't, go to our website, yourmoneyyourwealth.com. Click on the special offer this week. It's our ultimate guide to IRAs. Let's see how you did on the true-false question.
You can't contribute to a Roth IRA if you do not file a tax return to show your income. True or false? Well, I'm going to say that's generally false, because if you don't have to file a tax return, you can still do the Roth IRA as long as you have earned income. IRS knows your earned income from your W-2. One exception, though, I guess, is if you're self-employed, you probably still have to file to show that earned income, and plus you'll have to pay self-employment tax.
So if you get a little cash under the table?
Doesn't work. Don't do it.
Another thing, too, though, is that you can make contributions for your children as long as they have earned income, right? So it doesn't necessarily, the contribution for IRAs or Roth IRAs doesn't necessarily have to come from that individual. Let's say I have my son, he's makes $6,000 a year, right? But he wants to spend that $6,000 a year on Tonka trucks, whatever. I have $6,000 that I can open up a Roth IRA for my son and deposit that for him. As long as the child has earned income, you can still make contributions as a parent, a grandparent, friend, family member, whatever. So I think that's a pretty cool way to kind of help your kids get jump started a little bit as well.
I think so too, and absolutely, if they have earned income, you want to do it, because if you get it in at age 18 or 20, 22, whatever, and it compounds all that time. Two, if you're like a child prodigy doing commercials.
Yeah, that's my kid right there. All right. Asset allocation versus location. What the heck are we talking about here? This is really key in regards to a tax strategy as you look long term. Asset allocation. I think we've all heard of that. Stocks, bonds, real estate, cash. Okay, so this is the asset allocation, right? So this is an asset class. A stock is an asset class, bonds and so on. Right? But I think more importantly from a tax perspective is that if you have money, let's say in a tax-free, a Roth IRA account, or a taxable account, or your tax-deferred or IRA accounts, you might want to hold different types of assets in different location from a tax.
Yeah, and I think that's right. So if you think about it, like stocks, so those kind of they have capital gain treatment if you hold them for at least a year and a day and sell them, you get a lower tax rate. Right? So, and they've got qualified dividends. You know, ideally, you'd rather have that in your non-qualified account, non-retirement, or your Roth. Roth because they grow more than bonds. Your bonds, you might want to kind of favor the tax-deferred account because you don't necessarily want your largest growth there because you're just going to have to pay more tax later. Now, of course, many of you are going to have the majority of your assets in a deferred account, an IRA, 401k. So yeah, you're going to have a mixture of each. But let's just say in a perfect world where you got kind of even amounts, you want to kind of favor the stocks in the Roth and the non-retirement and everything else in the retirement account.
Here's another key component. You can invest in a standard IRA or Roth IRA in basically anything you want besides life insurance and collectibles. So if you want to buy a bond, a CD, cash, if you want to buy a mutual fund, exchange traded fund, an individual stock, you could purchase all of those assets inside the shell of the IRA or the Roth IRA. Okay, so first off, there's this custodian, such as like Vanguard, Charles Schwab, TD Ameritrade, right? Then you open up your account, IRA, Roth IRA. Then the third step is to select the investment that you want that account to hold. So is it a mutual fund, is it an ETF, is it a stock, or is it a diversified portfolio? So key thing here is that you could design this any way that you want. Okay, so it's not like you're buying a product. A Roth IRA is not a product. It's basically a shell that you can purchase securities through, and the only difference between the two of these is the tax implications on withdrawal. So if you have a stock that grows, you pull it out of a Roth, tax-free. You put it into an IRA, it grows, you pay tax. But you could have got a tax deduction on that contribution.
Well, you could, and then Joey, you could also do like a self-directed IRA. So that's if you want to hold other assets besides what we might call non-traditional. You know, like crypto or precious metals or real estate. Have you ever thought about owning real estate in your IRA, your Roth IRA? You can do that in a self-directed IRA. Now, I don't necessarily recommend real estate in regular IRAs because you're taking a very tax-favored investment and putting it in something that's going to create ordinary income later. Roth IRA, maybe a different story. Maybe it would be nice to hold some of those things in there.
Yeah, a lot of real estate investors love real estate and they don't want anything else. They're like, I don't want to deal with anything here. I just want to buy real estate. So if you have a large enough IRA, you can buy real estate. But as Al said, you got to be careful there because as you sell real estate, you're going to be taxed at a capital gain. If you put real estate inside the shell of an IRA, yeah, you could buy and sell and flip and do all those great things that you could potentially lose your assets with. But when you pull the money out, it's going to be all ordinary income. So you want to make sure that you understand the tax implications as you start designing your overall strategy. Things that you got to consider. When do you want to retire? What rate of return do I need to generate? So is real estate the right asset? Or is crypto? Or is it a stock? Is it a bond? Is it a combination of all? That's going to be on your risk tolerance. If the markets are a little bit volatile, does that keep you up at night? Are you looking at your accounts daily? So then that will also help here to design the appropriate strategy.
Right, and I think a lot of people kind of don't look at their goals, like what rate of return do you really need to make this work, right? And then some of these considerations, if you're very close to retirement, you might want to take your your foot off the gas a little bit, not have as many stocks because you're going to need those assets for your cash flow, right? Or if you're younger, you might favor more stocks.
Yeah, so when you kind of look at this diagram here, you're first looking at how much that you have in each of these, right? So here's your IRA. That's the big daddy, right? Or 401k. Most of us have a lot of money sitting in these accounts, but just know when you pull the money out, it's going to be taxed at that ordinary income rate. So diversification from a tax perspective is having money in each of these different accounts, right? So how much money do you have in a Roth IRA? Well, a lot of you don't even have an account where all of you probably qualify as long as you have money here or earned income, right? So tax-free is pretty cool because when you pull the money out, zero tax. And if you have assets over here, when you pull the money out, it's going to be taxed at a favorable rate, a capital gain rate. So when you're thinking about rebooting your overall retirement, you might be thinking about where's my money held from a tax perspective. If all of my money is sitting here, just know I'm probably going to get hammered in taxes if you have a pretty good sized balance here. I like here. Takes the uncertainty of taxes off the table because 100% of that growth will forever grow tax-free. Learn the strategies. Come up with your own solutions to your overall retirement. Start rebooting this thing, right? Go to our website. Get the ultimate guide to IRAs. YourMoneyYourWealth.com. Click on the special offer. It's our ultimate guide to IRAs. That's our gift. Click it, download it, learn, implement. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the show. Show's called Your Money, Your Wealth. Joe Anderson, Alan Clopine talking about IRAs today. Go to YourMoneyYourWealth.com. Click on the ultimate guide to IRAs. It will help you immensely in your overall retirement strategy. YourMoneyYourWealth.com. Click on that special offer. It's the ultimate guide. Not the best, the ultimate guide to IRAs. Let's see how you did on the true-false question.
For a single tax year, contributions can be made to a Roth IRA over a 15.5-month period. Seems kind of weird, but that's true. Because think about it, so 2022, you could start doing your Roth contribution for 2022 on January 1st, but you could do it all the way till tax filing date the following year, April 15th, 2023. So you do have 15.5 months to make the contribution for any particular tax year.
Best time to make a contribution, in my humble opinion, is January, right? Because 70% of the time the markets go up, 30% they go down. So if I can get my money in as soon as I can, most of the time I'm going to get that ride all the way through. If you don't know what your income's going to be for that year, especially for Roth IRA contributions, then you probably need to wait a little bit more towards the end of the year or until you file your tax return, or when you get your taxes close to be filed, then you know where your income falls. Then you can make either an IRA or a Roth IRA contribution.
Yeah, Joe, and if you do a contribution anyway, and you do too much, you can recharacterize it into the following year up until the extended due date of the returns, which is October 15th.
So here's a couple things to reboot our overall retirement. Let's recharge this thing. Here's what's missed so many times. The spousal IRA. What the heck is a spousal IRA? Well, let's say I no longer am working. My wife is working. I can still make an IRA contribution even though I do not have earned income. As long as the spouse has earned income, both spouses can make an IRA contribution. Roth or traditional, doesn't necessarily matter. So the spousal IRA, that's missed often.
I would say all the time. And another thing is your employer match, right? Make sure you're taking advantage of that. Your 401k, 403b may have an employer match. And so make sure you at least contribute enough money into that plan to get the full match, right? Then you may want to do that first and then go to the Roth IRA to get money into Roth, or maybe your 401k has a Roth option. Maybe you want to take advantage of that, but at least make sure you get the match.
Absolutely. This is free money. Make sure that you take care of that. Automate your contributions. Out of sight, out of mind. Pay yourself first, right? So I'm paying myself in my IRA, in my 401k, then I'm going to take care of all my bills, right? People do the opposite. They budget, they're like, okay, well, here's my mortgage payment, here's electricity, and then, oh, guess what? We're going to go out to eat, and we're going to do vacations, and we're going to do that. And then at the end, you got a couple of pennies to put for your retirement. If you start here, automate them, pay yourself first, life is a lot better.
And then also make sure that you fund the catch-up. If you're 50 and older, you've got those additional amounts that you can fund in your 401k, $6,500, right? IRA, Roth IRA, it's an extra $1,000. Make sure you do that.
Let's reboot. Let's take a look at fully funding. Let's say an IRA, you can have a max contribution of $6,000. If you're over 50, it's $1,000, $7,000. 401k, $20,500. That's the max. You're over 50. Catch up, 27. And then let's say you have a 4% match, $4,000. That's 31. You combine these two, that's $38,000. If you can do this, right, that money grows exponentially long term. Over 5 years, it's $271,000. 5 years. If you get a little bit more time, 10 years, now you're talking about $500,000. 20 years, almost $2 million. So this is the power of compounding. This is the power of discipline, right? This is also thinking of your future self, right? Think about yourself 10, 20, 30 years from now. You don't want to be broke. You probably want to have a fat paycheck coming in every month. If you start thinking about yourself in future tense, you will save more money.
Yeah, well, no question. And this is the question we get asked a lot is, or the statement, I'm 50 and I haven't done anything, I haven't saved. Well, there's ways to get significant money if you just kind of buckle down, get some money into your IRAs and 401ks. If you max them out, you can see over 20 years, gosh, you can end up with almost $2 million at a 7% rate of return.
All right, let's switch gears. Let's go to Ask the Experts.
All right, this is from Bella. I have limited funds to invest. If I fund my Roth IRA first, can I use it as an emergency fund? Joe, she can, but we don't necessarily recommend it.
Yeah, Roth IRAs have FIFO tax treatment, first in, first out. So you put $6,000 in. You always have access to that $6,000, no matter what your age is. So if you're 45, 55, 65, you put in the $5,000, $6,000, and let's say something happens and you need a couple of bucks. Yes, you can always pull money from the Roth IRA, no taxes, no penalties, no nothing. You could pull your contributions out first. The earnings, on the other hand, need to season inside that Roth IRA for 5 years or 59 and a half, whichever's longer. So there's some rules on the earnings from a tax-free distribution point, but your contributions are available.
They are available. I just like to think of two different buckets, if you will. There's emergency funds, there's Roth IRA. Don't touch your Roth IRA because that's going to grow tax-free. The longer you have, the longer it's going to compound. So let's do number 2. And this is Ben. If I inherit an IRA, can I take the money out over time to avoid paying taxes? Ben, that would be awesome if you could not pay taxes on your inherited IRA, but no, you pay taxes. In fact, now you have to take the money out over 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, you can avoid a big tax hit, right? So let's say you inherit $1 million IRA. You don't have to pay that $1 million in tax year one, but you do have to pull the account out over 10 years. So there's some new laws and nuances there. But in general speaking, yeah, you'll have to pull the money out. It's mandatory. If you don't pull the money out, you're going to get penalized to all get out, but you are taxed. There's no way around the tax on retirement accounts.
Yeah, no question. So Joe, why don't we talk about what we learned? So we learned about IRAs. We learned all kinds of things about IRAs, kind of the basics. We learned how to consolidate, diversify, rebalance. We learned to limit your tax exposure and make sure you're taking advantage of everything possible, from catch-up contributions to employer matches and the like.
Hey, don't stop there, folks. Go to our website, yourmoneyyourwealth.com. Click on that special offer. It's our ultimate guide to IRAs. You got this. Don't procrastinate any longer. This is a perfect time to start rebooting your overall retirement. Yourmoneyyourwealth.com. Click on that special offer. That's it for us today. For Big Al Clopine, I'm Joe Anderson. We'll see you next time, folks.